Feeling overwhelmed? Searching for someone who truly gets it? At J Branch and Associates, we provide mental health support for BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others facing unique challenges. We understand the weight of generational trauma, the struggles of identity, and the pressures of being a part of an underestimated and overlooked group. At J Branch and Associates, therapy isn't a one-size-fits-all. We create a safe, culturally aware space where you can feel seen, heard, and understood. Finding a therapist who truly fits you matters, and that's exactly what we're here for. Our team of highly trained licensed therapists bring compassion, empathy, and real-world experience to help you on your journey to healing and growth. We're committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. Ready to take the next step? Visit us at www.drjbranch.com for more information, or call or text 404-436-2540 to schedule your free 15-minute consultation. You can also book your first session today. Thank you for choosing J Branch and Associates, therapists of color providing exceptional care to BIPOC communities, quality service, exceptional care from authentic professionals.
Three parallels. Yeah. Three parallels. Yeah. Three parallels.
Three Parallel Podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Three Parallels Podcast with your host, Dr. Jason Branch, where we determine who we were, who we are becoming. Now, today's guest, I'm telling y'all, I got some heat for you today. I got some heat because this is one of my former students who we've met in class, and it was an instant connection. And my belief is, I don't know, we don't have to ask. My belief is the connection was, who is this authentic man? Who is this number one Black man in here about to teach me? Because I ain't used to this. I ain't never seen no Black man. That's the vibe that I got. Now, I don't know if that's what really happened, but it was just the energy of, oh my goodness, I'm in a space of people of color, specifically this person who happens to be my professor, who's down to earth, who's cool. But not only that, in order to see that, you have to be that. So this student is that. She is coming in with so much energy, positive vibe, and just a different aspect and look on life. So she's still in school knocking things out, and I have no idea. She's going into private practice. She's probably going to end up getting her PhD. She's going to do any and everything. I'm telling you now. So bring out your Gator Scales journal, because she's going to drop you with some bombs. She's going to hit you upside the head with a honey bun. It's on its way. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the one and only Jena D'souza. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much, Dr. Branch. Thank you. So excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you're here, and we ain't going to spend a lot of time wasting time because we finna get in. I am curious, and this is me. My introduction, I share my perception of what the energy and connection was. Now I would love to hear, what is your perception? What's your reality of when we first connected in the classroom?
Yeah, so I'm so excited to take the class, just in general, because I'm so excited to do the work with couples. So when you showed up and you showed out and you were so authentically yourself and so unapologetically yourself, I was like, perfect. Like here's the role model that I've been waiting for, and I've got it. So that just made me like, something in me just was like, okay, this is going to change your life.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, let me go introduce myself. And that's what happened.
Yeah. And it was instant. It was an instant connection. I just felt your energy. And for all the listeners, especially listeners that are people of color, identify a person of color, understand it means something when you see someone doing things that you always dreamed about or wanted to do. It has an impact on you. And I mean it, if I can do it, if Jena can do it, then you can do it, whatever it is that you want to do. And oftentimes we may not see people that look like us in these spaces, but that doesn't mean we don't belong. So wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be, and exactly where preparing you for what's next. So much love to my listeners, people of color, all of you. I'll take it. So curious, what made you decide, like, I want to be a therapist, I want to be a counselor, I want to get into this profession and help the world and help others? What triggered this, and what got you to the place where you decided to go back and continue in your career?
So I was 13 years old when my parents started talking to me about careers. They're like, okay, what are you going to be? Doctor, engineer, lawyer? And I was like, is there anything else I could do? And because I just didn't, I don't think I had the aptitude to do something like that. Didn't no interest in any of that. And my dad was like, huh, what about a physical therapist? I was like, what's that? And so I did a quick Google search and I found out like therapy was a profession. And I started reading more about what therapists did and like the field of psychology. And I was like, wait, this is kind of interesting. And at that time, I was a very avid reader. I was reading like 4 books in a week. My dad would come home every Monday with a stack of books. And on Sunday, I would just hand him back all the books I read. He was like, okay, can I get the next set of books? And he would come back again with another stack of books. So while I was reading all these books, I was just like, oh my God, like human functioning, the way people think, act, human relationships, like they're also intriguing to me. And that's when I decided that, okay, yeah, no, I'm going to be a therapist at 13. I was like, this is
Oh
what I
my
want to be.
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. So just curious, what kind of books were you reading?
anything and everything.
Mm.
I particularly really enjoy like young adult like novels. Like when I was 13, I was reading like Fault in the Stars, like everything. I read all the John Green books. I read I really enjoyed Gone Girl,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jillian. I can't remember her author's name, but I really liked at 14 and 15, I really liked psychological thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm getting back into fiction. I want to like get lost in stories. I want to get lost in worlds that are
Mm-hmm.
not my reality right now.
Wow.
And I'm also I'm currently reading Women Women Who Run with Wolves. It's a more of a spiritual book for getting women connected to their intuition. The author brings up like indigenous stories and then dissects the stories into how it relates to women's intuition and how women can get connected back to that divine intuition.
Ooh,
So
we
that's
hold.
what
Ooh, we hold on, time out. Ooh, I didn't know where we are gonna go today. I want some of this. This is so good. I want some of it, and I'm sure the listeners want some of this too. So, if you could give us an example of one of those stories and how does it connect to women's intuition? Like this is great info, and I'm sure you probably can sold this book to a few people too. But if you could share one of those stories that kind of came up for you when you read it.
Yeah. So the first story that talks about is how there's a woman in this one indigenous culture that is a collector of bones. So when animals die, she goes out in the desert and she collects their bones and she puts them back together and she prays on these bones so they come alive.
Mhm.
And that's the first step in, and the author talks about how that's the first step in getting connected back to your intuition for
Wow.
women who've been severed from it is collect
Wow.
the bones,
Ooh.
collect the bones of who you were and,
Ooh.
and pray, breathe life over it. And that's the
Wow.
first step.
Wow. Do y'all see how this podcast just creates the ripples? That's exactly what this podcast is about, who we were, who we are, who we're becoming. And this book speaks to that. And going back to ancestry and the 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 activities and the things that they did and how it connects to now. Like that's so powerful. That's so deep. And that's one story. And I'm sure it's so many others. And it all connects, like no pun intended, but it all connects to who we were and who we are and who we're trying to become. So this is so interesting. I love how the show flows because it's organic. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I was just sharing, I share with every guest. I don't know. I know how the show's going to start. I know how it's going to end. I have no idea what's going to happen in between. And what happens in between is magic to me. And this is one of those magical moments. So I really appreciate you sharing that with the audience. So I'm curious from 13 to now, like how did you stay on track? Because I'm sure there were distractions, other options, other opportunities. How did you stay focused from 13 to now?
I am so glad you asked me that question because so from 13 to now, how did I stay on track? I always have my eye on the prize. I know who I want to be. I know exactly who I want to be. I know exactly what I wear, what I smell like, and what jewelry I wear. Like
Wow.
I have a vision of who I am, and I keep just my eyes on who that I want to be. So after I graduated high school, I got into one of the top colleges in Mumbai. And due to, I want to say politics, I don't know, they didn't let me study psychology. They wanted me to study political science. And I was like, no, but I want to be a therapist and I want to, understand human psyche. I want to study psychology. Why can't I? And they're like, can't. Sorry, the class is full. I was like, okay. I studied so hard to
Hmm.
get into this top school and to study psychology. And just for some petty reasons, they didn't let me. And I was really heartbroken. I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is what I want to study and I can't get to it. So I just had a light bulb moment in my head and I was like, I think I want to go to America and study.
Oh my goodness.
I was walking to school and I was just so depressed. I was just so over it. And I was like, this, like, I can get what I want to get here. And I saw a white guy just like walk past me. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to America. That dude probably wasn't even American.
So hold on real quick. You got you got to share the context. Like, you got to tell us more. Like this random white dude. What was it about this random white dude that just said, "Okay, America, I'm going."
Okay, so this is downtown Mumbai. I'm in the heart of the city, and I am walking from the railway station to my college, which is like a 15-minute walk. And I'm walking, and since it's the heart of the city, it's the center of the city. There's a lot of tourists there,
Mhm.
and for some reason, I don't know, white people love to find themselves in India.
Mm, okay.
They're like they do soul searching and somehow find themselves in the city.
Mm,
And so I just saw him walk by, and he's just a tourist. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to America. I don't know
wow.
how my like mind made that connection.
Yeah.
And I went back home and I was like, okay, I'm like preparing a whole speech of how I'm gonna sell this to my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad comes home and he literally just steps one foot in the house. And I'm like, I want to go study in America. And my dad was like, okay. I was like,
What?
yeah. But I was like, okay.
Wow.
And I was like, no, 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 no. Like, I'm being for real. Like,
Yeah.
I want to study in America. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, like, we'll get that started. I was like, that easy? I'm like, that was so easy.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have to convince a lot. I didn't have to convince my dad at all in like
Mm,
what I wanted to do. I'd
yeah.
just be like, oh, like, I want to do XYZ. And my dad'd be like, okay, so let's do it.
Interesting.
So my dad is the reason why I was able to like stay on the path.
Yeah. Because it sounds like he was very supportive throughout. He was supporting any and everything you did.
Yeah.
That's
I think
incredible.
yeah, he knows that I'm special. So
Mm. That is incredible. really appreciate you sharing that because a lot of people don't have that type of relationship with their father. May not have their father present or in the house at all. So not only to have a father, but to have a father who's encouraging and supporting, and for you to go to another country to study, like what? I'm a fan of your parents already. Like,
yeah,
wow.
my family members would always ask my mom and dad, they're like, this is your only daughter. How are you letting her leave? Like, what is this madness? And my
Mm,
mom would always say, well, she's got to live her life. We can't stop her.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So
So
I want to go to the basement for a moment, if you're okay. If we can go to the basement. I'm curious, and you may or may not know, for your parents, both of them, to be on that same page, to be supportive, encouraging, and willing to go against the culture or the community of this is what were supporting for our daughter and we're okay with it. Like, how did they become that version of themselves to be that supportive, especially in the culture and environment that's probably the complete opposite?
it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Hmm.
I think I what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? I prepped my parents into this moment at a very like an early age. At a very early age, if I put on my mind to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter like how, like doesn't matter the circumstances. I'm gonna get to it. So, for example, in fourth grade, the
Mhm.
summer of fourth grade, I wanted to go to the mall with my friends to celebrate our finishing of the academic year. I was like, I want to go to the mall. I want to have fun, and we didn't have a ride,
Mhm.
and we didn't have anybody to chaperone us. But I had set my mind, and that I wanted to go celebrate at the mall. Guess what? A 4 year old did, not 4 year old, fourth grade year old me did. I found a ride to the mall, took my friends, and we had a blast. And my mom found out that I was at the mall, and she leaves her work, she comes to the mall, and she's looking for me. She's like, oh, she had like the mall people like sit on the speaker. She was like, oh, we're looking for Jena D'souza. Your mom's here. And I was like in my own la la land, having like a blast with my friends. And like that was just the beginning of me prepping my parents into just letting them know, hey, no matter what you do, what you say, I'm gonna go do what I need to do and I want to do.
Wow. Wow. So just curious, I mean, fourth grader going to the mall, random route, like, wow. How did you become this version? How did you like in the fourth grade know this is what I want to do? I'm going to make it happen. I don't really care what anybody thinks. I'm safe. I'm comfortable. I'm confident in making this decision. How did you get there? How did you do that?
I'm an only child.
Ooh, okay.
So I had nobody but myself to hang
Hmm.
out with, to talk to. So I became my best friend at a very early age. And
Hmm.
I always listened to what I wanted to do. Because nobody else had their inputs to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to go to the restaurant instead of the mall. Like
Yeah.
it didn't matter what others wanted because I didn't hear what other people wanted. It's always
Wow.
me.
Ooh, ooh, now let me share something. Again, this is happening in real time. This is organic. This is another reason why you and I connected so well. I'm an only child as well. So that it was a kinetic energy of you know what this life is like because how I present myself is like an only child for the most part. I'm not, it's about me. What works for me, what doesn't. But it was just that kinetic energy. This is another indicator. So y'all hearing this live. I didn't know. Gina didn't know. And we're hearing it live, and that's what makes the show so organic. So because of your birthplace, as far as like birth order, the order was just you. So it's it's not middle child or young oldest. It's not that. So you having that independence and a supportive family kind of really helped you propel in a lot of different ways. That's huge. So if you don't mind sharing that transition from India to the US, and I'm sure cultural differences and just customs and learning different things, how did you make that transition? And again, still on this trajectory, I'm going to be a therapist.
Yeah. So at 17, I got on a one-way flight to Los Angeles.
Mm,
And I've been here since, just pursuing my dreams.
mhm,
And before I got to America, before I got to LA, I watched a lot of YouTube. I watched a lot of like YouTubers in
mhm.
LA.
Yeah.
YouTube culture was really big in like
Mhm.
between like the early 20, like from 2011 to like 2017. Like YouTube culture was popping. Like
Uh-huh.
everybody was making vlogs. Everybody was. So I was stuck to it. I was stuck to YouTube, and I was just watching all these people make vlogs about like being in LA and like just the American culture.
Yeah.
So I was very I got like a online version of what life is like in America. So
Mm.
when I came to America, it wasn't like a shock because I was very like familiar
Yeah.
with what the culture was. And
Mm.
again, like I read a lot of like American novels growing up. So
Yeah.
I understood how people like talked. I understood what the culture was. I understood how people moved. So that became like very easy for me to transition, and like cultural shock wasn't as like a huge of a thing for me. And then
Mhm.
again, like I was living in the dorms at the
Yeah.
time when I came, so I had a community already ready for me to like just jump into. So
Yeah.
that was really nice. I don't think I would ever do that ever again. Like just move to a different country, no plans, no family, no friends. Like, oh, I don't know.
So you were able to move here and build a community.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Do your
hmm
parents come to visit? Do you go back home?
I go back home every summer. I haven't gone back since I started my grad program because I've been on a very rigorous path to finish this program in 3 years. So every summer I've been in school. So I haven't seen them since 2022.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this transition from I'm assuming undergrad in LA and then master's right afterwards. Tell
Yeah.
us more about that. Just navigating American culture, navigating school. Like, you're a student in the US, which is very different than I'm sure being a student in Mumbai. How was
hmm
that for you?
Being a student in India is you don't have to use 100% of your critical thinking. All you have to do is rote learn, just memorize the concepts, not even understand, not even apply it. So that's
Mm.
one thing that like turned me off when I was thinking of higher education. I already got accepted to Cal State Long Beach to study psychology after I graduated 12th grade. But I
Hmm.
still wanted to learn how psychology is taught in India. So I went to an information session for a bachelor's program for psychology. And I heard the faculty talk about the program and they talked about the syllabus and everything was just concepts, everything was theories,
Mm.
nothing was like application based. And I was like, okay, no, I made the right decision of like leaving.
Mm.
So when I got here, not only did I get to study psychology, I got to study theater
Yeah.
and I got to study so many other things. I took a public speaking class, and I realized my first semester when I did take the public speaking class that I was so good at talking to a room full of people. I came alive,
Mm.
and I realized that I had a gift.
Yeah.
And a couple months ago, I was about to go to bed, and I was just thinking, like, oh my God, like I really have a love for public speaking. I enjoy talking to people, talking to a room full of people. I want to do a podcast. And I
Mm.
fell asleep. And just with that thought, I fell asleep. I wake up and I see an email from Dr. Jason Branch titled Opportunity Knocks. And I quickly read the email and it's like an invitation to get on your podcast. And I just put the phone back and I go back to sleep. I'm like, this is no way this just happened. So things like that just keep happening in my life where I constantly get reminded how this is my path. Like I
Mm.
am on the right path.
Oh,
I'm doing the right things because
that's beautiful.
opportunity literally comes served on a plate to me to continue doing this work.
That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And I'm curious to learn more. Like, it sounds like you're picking up these breadcrumbs. You're noticing the breadcrumbs and you're picking them up along the way. And before you know it, you're getting hit in the head with a honey bun. Like, you're just constantly making these changes and you're kind of aligning with who you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to go based off of what's working for you. So, how has this experience been for you? Like, noticing the breadcrumbs, and because I don't, just my opinion, I don't feel as though a lot of us pay attention to the breadcrumbs. They're always there. We may not pay attention. You're paying attention to them. How did you get here?
Thank you for asking that. Um, I am a big believer in the fact that me and the universe work together to get me where I am. So when my entire universe is conspiring to get me to be this person, to be successful, to be this healer, it's easier to notice the ways in which it's working. When you
Mm.
believe that your universe is working, it's easy to see how it's working. So, for
Hold on, hold,
example,
time out. Whoa, we
okay.
not finna leave that. So real quick, real quick, listeners, Get your Gator Scales journal out. If you don't have the journal yet, it's okay. You can get it later. Get something out, a notebook, your phone notes. Y'all need to take some notes because Gina is dropping some gems. If you could repeat what you just said about the universe and attracting.
Okay. This is an affirmation for all the listeners to even write down. Believe that the universe, your universe, is working in with you to get to where you want to be. It's not working against you. It's not plotting against you. It wants to see you win.
Ooh,
So
so powerful, so powerful. Now, we're gonna put this in this box right over here in this corner. I haven't named it yet, but it's this box that I would usually put thoughts and ideas in, and we get back to later. And I want to get back to this thought because you were finna go somewhere else. I want to go there, and then go to this thought related to the universe, law of attraction, and religion. I would love to hear how you navigate all of those worlds. But you were going somewhere before we get there.
yeah, so I was just talking about how my universe works to conspires itself to get me where I want to be.
Mhm.
And as I was, in this grad program to study to be a therapist, I realized that I like get called to the term healer a
Mhm.
lot
Mhm.
over a therapist. So I feel very connected to the healing arts.
Yeah.
And when I was on my search for a practicum agency to start my internship as a clinical therapist trainee, I came across this holistic healing agency in Santa Ana. It's called Sage Holistic Healing. And I did a quick Google search about them, and they're all about holistic healing, all about the mind, body, spirit connection, and all the woo woo stuff that I just love. And I talked to all my cohort mates, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, I want to get here. I'm going to intern at Sage. And everybody was like, oh my God, yes, I want to intern at Sage. And
Mm.
everybody wanted to be there. And
Yeah.
apparently, there was one spot for a traineeship, and there was like at least 7 of us that wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And I didn't let that like deter me. I didn't was like, oh, there's 7 people doing it. Should I even do it? I
Mm.
did it, and I affirmed. I constantly affirmed that I was the clinical therapist trainee at Sage.
Wow. Oh,
I Yeah, I was like, nope, this is what I'm doing. And I got an interview, and I got the job to like
wow.
literally 24 hours after I interviewed, and I canceled all my other interviews with other agencies. I'm like, this is where I want to be.
Oh my goodness. You are dropping gems. This is the code. I think you broke the code. No, it's not even I think. You broke the code. And I don't know. I'm blown away. I cannot
Mhm.
believe it. I'm so impressed. I'm so inspired. I'm so encouraged. And I hope you all that are listening are in the same space that I am because you've been able to do something that the average person hasn't been able to do. And that's unlock your truth, unlock your full potential. And that's what you did. You're figuring out what life is like for you. You're not concerned about anybody else and what's for me. Let me find it. Like you live very differently than, average people that I've come encounter with. And you're so far ahead with this thinking because I just developed this thinking about a year or two ago. But for you, like you have it now, where did this come from and how do you get this confident in your authenticity of knowing is I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not begging for anything. I'm attracting everything. Who the hell are you? And how did you get here?
Goes back to my dad. It just all
Mm,
goes back to my dad. My dad, at a very early age, he taught me what manifestation was.
mm,
And he didn't use the word. Didn't use the word manifestation. He just said, whatever you want, just put it out there in the universe that you want it, and it's yours.
yeah.
And my dad always also practiced that. I wanted to go to France for a study abroad trip.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, oh, do you have money to send me to France? And my dad goes, well, if you want to go, we're going to make it happen. And I was like, do you
Ooh.
have the money though? And my dad's like, well, I'm a rich man, so money comes and goes. And I was like,
Oh my
okay,
God. Hold on.
see,
Time out. Time out. I'm not ready. Listen, you live this life, okay? You live it. I don't, and I'm sure the listeners don't live this life either. Like your dad is dropping gems. Your dad is like going in. It makes sense now. It makes so much sense. So for you to be hearing this your entire life, That's why you're so confident. That's why you're so authentic. That's why you're okay with the journey. Like, this is mind blowing. And I hope, again, you live it, so it's not it may not be a big deal, but I work with clients all the time who are trying to get to where you are, and you're in the profession learning how to get better at it and help other people. This mindset, because it's a mindset, it's a totally different mindset you've been able to develop, and it's changed your life and will continue to do so. And my hope is for all the listeners, hope you're paying attention. These are the breadcrumbs. These are exactly the steps, are the things that you need to hear to know that you're more than capable. You're already ready. You just don't believe it. So Gina is sharing, like, I see it, I believe it, and you can't tell me different. So that is authenticity at its finest. So if she can do it, if I can do it, why can't you? Why can't you? The first step is you haven't written it down yet. Yeah, that's my job. I gotta call you out. Gotta hold you accountable. You pulled your notebook out. You did all these other things, but you didn't write it down. Writing it down is also attracting it because it becomes a contract between you and you. And Gina is shaking her head, which lets me further know I'm on point. Anyway, let's keep the party going. Where were you?
Oh, my dad
Yes.
and him teaching me about manifestation. And I constantly ask him about like, because he's fund my education here in America. So I constantly like ask him like, hey, do you have money for X, Y, and Z? And my dad's answer is always, oh yeah, I'm a rich man. So
Wow.
he affirms that, and I've seen him affirm that. And
Oh my goodness.
we're not rich by any means. We're middle class
Mhm.
people. My dad grew up in the slums of Mumbai. He's seen
Mm.
poverty like no other.
Yeah.
And for him to constantly be like, "Yeah, I'm a rich man. Go, my daughter, go do whatever you want. Here's
Wow.
here's the money." Like that's crazy. So I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
I've gr- I've grown up around that. So and
Okay.
when I
Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay. When I first left my house to come to when I first left home to come to pursue my education here, my dad gave me a crystal, and my dad said, "Anything you want, just hold this crystal in your hands and pray for it, and it's gonna be yours."
Mm.
And the rest is history.
Wow. So there's so many questions. There's so many layers to this. Any idea where your dad got it from?
The slums of Mumbai, his
So,
life.
so he learned from living a certain way and deciding that doesn't work for me. I get to choose differently.
He wanted much more than
Wow.
what life gave him.
Yeah. Wow. Incredible. Incredible. So I want to go back into this place, this space, this little box over here in the corner I haven't named yet. Mixing the two worlds, or how do you manage the world of religion, spirituality, the universe? Because it sounds like, some of us may put it all together, some may compartmentalize, some may not do any of it. So how do you manage those worlds of attracting the universe and religion?
Religion has been a very difficult aspect identity of myself to navigate. Ever since I was a little girl, I just wrestled with if religion was like, what is religion? Like, do I have to conform to this? I don't like how I grew up Roman Catholic. I went to a Catholic high school all my life. And I remember in 10th grade, I was like, oh, God's not real. I don't think he's real. I don't see him. Like, this is not real.
Mm-hmm.
And the principal of our high school was a priest. And he comes in to teach us civic science. And after, like, we had like 10 minutes remaining for the class period. And he goes, okay, who here doesn't believe in God? And I was like, oh, this is a setup. But and there were 60 students in my class, and I was the only one to like raise my hand and be like,
Mm.
I don't. And he started to like kind of challenge like where I'm coming from. And I am just like, well, I don't see him, so like I don't really believe in him. And this was like 10th grade. So, I was just a little shit. Like I really hadn't like developed critical thinking skills. So I was like, yeah, I don't see him, so he doesn't exist. And then class period ends, and I have like 5 people come up to me, and they were like, well, I didn't want to say anything, but I'm so glad you did.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that I need to live my truth no matter what. So ever since that period, like I have like there has been like ups and downs between like me and my religion. I'm like, am I religious? Am I spiritual? I don't know.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, just spending a whole year by myself in my dorm room, it made me realize that, ooh, I need something to believe in. So
Yeah.
that's when I found out about spirituality. And at this point, like I hadn't been religious for a minute. Oh my God, if my mom's listening to this, she's gonna get so mad at me.
And you know what? She will get over it. But anyway, live your truth. And this may be her truth now. This may be your truth that you share with her through this podcast. Now, hey mama, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
But yeah, in the pandemic, found spirituality, found out like what spiritual practices aligned with me. And then I realized, yeah, spirituality is fun and all, but I'm still missing something. And that was like the connection with my God.
Yeah.
And I found that in religion. So now I'm in a place where I have my religious practices, I have my spiritual practices, and they all come together and make me who I am. And this is me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love how you got to this place. I love you sharing your journey, your story, your truth. I hope for all of you listening that you determine you determine what does that mean for you. And to me, that's how I look at religion, spirituality, the universe. It's what we believe. It's what we perceive. It's the evidence that we have. It's what works for us. And sometimes we don't know what that is because we're still working by what worked for other people and what they told us to do. And we're doing that, but it doesn't work. So it's being able to look within self to find out this actually works better for me. So not saying that what you're doing doesn't work at all. It works or you wouldn't do it. But there's other things that work better once you determine what you need, what you want, what you value. And that comes from doing some work in the basement. So we're going to come out the basement a little bit. I love being in that space where we can just go deep. We can talk about different things. That's what makes the show so unique. And now we're coming back to the surface related to what is it that, because it's going to happen. I'm sure of it now, no matter what, it's going to happen. But this vision, this idea of you, once you graduate, once you walk across that stage, what's next? What does that look like for you? Because it's going to happen.
I think about it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been in school my entire life. I don't know what it's like not to be in school. Yeah. So my dreams, my hopes for my post-graduation plans is that I get to slow down and I get to live my life a little bit. Okay. Not a little bit, live my life to the fullest.
Okay. Live your life a
that
lot.
Yeah, that means like having slower mornings, whether that is like getting up a little bit earlier in the morning and either going on a walk or, just slowing down. I did that today in the morning. I woke up early and I slowed down. Yeah. Did some yoga and I was like, this is nice. And travel. I want to see the world. Yeah. I want to see what other cultures have to offer. There's so many people all over the globe that I have yet to meet and have yet to talk to. So that's what I'm hoping for my post-graduation plan.
I love it. Hoping and expecting it's going to happen. I have no doubt. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see you shine because you're already shining. So the next piece, we're moving to rapid fire. I got a few rapid fire questions. And some of these questions are coming from what we talked about on the show. So I want to dive in with my first question. How did you get this fearless with life? I feel like there's nothing that scares. This is just my perception. There's nothing that scares you. How did you get to this place of just being fearless and courageous?
That's just who I am.
I am done. I am so done with you right now.
No, I'm trying to think like, if I wasn't this, who would I be? And
Wow.
I don't know.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Ah, okay. So I'm curious. You've been everywhere. You've seen a lot of different things. What have you learned about other people on your journey of life?
People need patience.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Same question. Now let's take it inward. What is it that you've learned about yourself over all these years?
I'm more powerful than I think.
Beautiful. I love it. You snapping today. You are snapping. All right. So, who is or was your hero?
Okay, I talked about my dad a lot. So, yes, he is one of the people that inspires me, but Beyonce too.
Okay, y'all say, let's
I
go.
see I see the work ethic and I was like, "Oh, okay." I
Mhm.
went to the Renaissance concert over last year and I saw the work she put in. I was like, this is Beyonce. She didn't have to do all of this, but she did because she loves her job.
Yes.
And after the concert was over, me and my partner, we were walking to the car and I just look at him. I was like, I need to be the Beyonce of whatever I do.
Come on. Come on. Listen, write it down. Listen, y'all do not take this energy. Don't take this love. Don't take this vibe for granted. Okay. Write it down. Take notes. Take action. Not just writing it down, but how can I start implementing these things that work? And obviously, this works. This works. So, next question. Is there a word, phrase, memory, or moment that has stuck with you personally or professionally?
Never to disregard my intuition. Always
Mm.
follow it.
Oh, that's that gut check. Oh, that's that gut check. Okay.
Yep.
What would you say is an interesting fact about yourself that people may not even believe?
I'm a master manifester.
Oh, tell us more.
Everything I have, everything I wanted is like I have either got it or it's already on its way to me. Like I'm
It's
gonna give you I gave you the example of the podcast, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
let me give you another example.
Okay.
I was talking to my partner. I don't have a laptop. I don't have a personal laptop. I borrow a laptop from the school's digital program. So I don't have a personal laptop, and I wanted one. And I told my partner, like when what's it called? When Black Friday comes around, I'll get myself a laptop. The next day, my partner calls me and he's like, well, I have a Mac desktop that my boss is giving away. Do you want it? I was
Mm,
like, hell yeah, I want it. So
yeah.
I just put it out in the universe that I was gonna go get a laptop in a couple months, and the universe was like, no, you could have this.
Wow. You know what's wow? I'm so glad you shared this story, and this is happening organically. So, when did that happen? When did you get this desktop?
August?
August. And so, are you telling me that you still need a laptop? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
I don't. I am good.
You don't need one.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Because if you did need one, I have a MacBook I've been trying to get rid of. So yeah, if you change your mind, if anything comes up, just letting you know. Been trying to
Okay.
get it off my hands and give it to somebody who could use it. I'm selling it very cheap, like just selling it so I can get some gas money. For, for a little barbecue, little gas money. So if that changes, or if you know someone, because this is the ripple effect. If you know someone who
Hmm.
needs a laptop, I got a MacBook Air that's a couple years old. It's functional. It still does what it needs to do. But it's been sitting and I don't need it anymore. So now, not only this is a blessing for you if needed, it's a blessing for somebody who you may know. And that's the law of attraction. That's the universe at work in real time on this episode. I hope y'all paying attention. We didn't make this up. This was not planned. This was not rehearsed. This was life being spoken. This is attraction. This is the ripple effect. So now we all know, and to the listeners, you need a laptop, hit your boy up. Let me know. It's first come, first serve. First come, first serve. So just know this episode, this podcast is life changing if you're paying attention to the breadcrumbs that are dropped. So I love that you're dropping all these breadcrumbs. And I got a couple more questions before we get out of here. I'm curious to to get your perspective on the three parallels: who you were, who you are, who you're becoming. If you were to describe those three versions of yourself using one word for each version or one word for all, what would it be?
Okay. My past self, somebody who didn't know how powerful she was.
Mm.
My current self, I'm playing it safe with my power.
Mm. Ooh.
My future self, she embodies her power and
Wow.
moves accordingly.
Okay. Come on, Beyonce. Come on, Beyonce. Ah. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. I love it. So I got one more question, and this is for the listeners. This is for you. This is for me. And then we're gonna offer some life work. So my last question relates to the person you described. Like you said, you already see what she's gonna wear, what she smells like, her shoes, all of that. Could you describe who you, who you see coming into that office or whatever vision you have? Do you mind sharing it with us? Because I felt your energy think when you shared a piece of it. Now we need details. What you got?
Well, I see the clothes that I'm wearing, and on some days when I'm trying to take it chill, I'm wearing my Indian attire. I'm wearing a kurti. I'm wearing my Indian jewelry, but on some other days, I look like that bitch who's gonna help you.
Let's go. Let's go. What do you smell like? You said some perfume. I'm sure that's some perfume. What's this perfume
Mm,
you got?
very rich, very
Mm.
very rich. I love vanilla. I love vanilla. I love, I don't know if this is appropriate to say it on this podcast, but I love smelling sexy.
Yes, it's appropriate. We sexy over here.
Okay. Hell yeah.
We sexy
Hell
over here.
yeah.
You on the
I
right one.
love smelling.
You you're on the right show. I love it. Thanks for giving us the visual. You shared it earlier. Now we got details. I love it. You are a visionary. I am so thankful that you have blessed us with your gift for today. Now you can give a specific gift to the listeners because what we offer on this show is life work, not homework. Homework, you take it home, you do it, you turn it in, you never remember it again. Life work, you take it home, you do it, your life will change. So if you can offer something to the listeners for them to be inspired to change their lives, what would it be?
Okay. So okay, I'm saying this in the most gentlest and the most kindest way possible, listeners. Imagine I'm holding your hand as I say this, and I'm coming from the most compassionate place possible. And if you're stuck, this is for you. Nobody's coming to save you but you. And I know it's frightening, but it's also very freeing.
Wow. Mic drop. Mic drop, mic drop, mic drop. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. And this is being said publicly. When you start your show, which will happen, I would love to serve as a guest as well. So you
Oh
let me
yeah.
know. And y'all heard it here first.
Yeah.
Podcast is coming. It's on its way. All right. So if people want to get in contact with you, they want to reach out, they want to learn more about attracting things and just being a bad one, like Jena D'souza. That's how can they get in touch with you? How can people reach out to you and connect with you?
Yeah. I have an Instagram. It's The Alchemistic. It's TheAlchemystic. So alchemy and mystic, alchemistic. The
Excellent.
Alchemistic.
Excellent. You have been phenomenal. Thank you so much for serving as a guest on the show. To the listeners, I hope you were paying attention because the breadcrumbs have been dropped. The loaves of bread has been delivered. We inside Panera right now, if you're listening. But if you're not listening, this is an opportunity to do so because y'all just got hit in the head with a honey bun. My name is Dr. Jason Branch. This has been the Three Parallels podcast where we discover who we were, who we are becoming. I hope this episode has done something for you. And if it did, share the wealth. Do not keep this information to yourself. Share it. Give it away. Anything personal, keep it. Professional, give it away. Much love to you all. Get it together if you don't. And if you do, much love to you. Peace.
Feeling overwhelmed? Searching for someone who truly gets it? At J Branch and Associates, we provide mental health support for BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others facing unique challenges. We understand the weight of generational trauma, the struggles of identity, and the pressures of being a part of an underestimated and overlooked group. At J. Branch and Associates, therapy isn't a one-size-fits-all. We create a safe, culturally aware space where you can feel seen, heard, and understood. Finding a therapist who truly fits you matters, and that's exactly what we're here for. Our team of highly trained licensed therapists bring compassion, empathy, and real-world experience to help you on your journey to healing and growth. We're committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. Ready to take the next step? Visit us at www.drjbranch.com for more information, or call or text 404-436-2540 to schedule your free 15-minute consultation. You can also book your first session today. Thank you for choosing J. Branch and Associates, therapists of color providing exceptional care to BIPOC communities, quality service, exceptional care from authentic professionals.